My dear MAGA friend, please think with me. First, I want to say that you will always be an important person to me. If it weren't so, I would not bother with sending this video to you. But you are, and I am deeply grateful for the moments we have spent together. You are sensitive, funny, and intelligent person. And that's why I struggle to talk with you about your MAGA allegiance. And it is an allegiance. And you know who else requires allegiance? God, religions, and cults. Allegiance is not inherently bad. It can give us belonging and purpose and identity. But allegiance can also be exploited. That's why I want to share with you what I've learned about cults and propaganda and psychology. Not to attack you, but to invite you to think with me. First, a cult is typically a group that demands devotion to a leader or an ideology, where it discourages independent thought and enforces conformity. Its key features are a charismatic leader who demands loyalty, a rigid belief system where dissent is punished, and isolation from outside influences, and groupthink that suppresses all doubt, and of course, emotional manipulation through fear or promises. When I look at MAGA, I see parallels. I can't help but see parallels, and it's frightening. Donald Trump is a charismatic leader. The slogans, "Make America Great Again" and "Fake News" are just identity markers. The rejection of mainstream institutions as legitimate and the emotional pulls of rallies where belonging feels intoxicated are all cult-like influences and dynamics. There's a psychology behind social identity theory. This theory says that we derive our self-worth from group membership. And MAGA creates a strong us versus them identity where supporters feel pride in belonging and hostility towards anyone who doesn't believe the way they believe. That's why Democrats and journalists and even other Republicans who dissent are cast out as enemies. I know I've discussed this with you, how there are many Republicans that are not MAGA Republicans, and your distaste for them alarmed me. This obedience to authority psychology also is disarming or alarming. The psychology behind it shows that ordinary people obey authority figures even when it's against their own conscience. In MAGA, Trump's authority overrides contradictions. Even when his words conflict with facts, loyalty wins. And then there's groupthink. There's a tightly bonded group where dissent is suppressed. At MAGA rallies and online communities, they reward conformity, saying the same thing over and over. Doubt is punished with labels like rhino or traitor. The psychology provides us with principles of influence where Trump's position as leader commands obedience and gives him ultimate authority. He uses fear and scarcity when he says, "We may lose our country," creating urgency for you to act. and to constantly be under stress. Trump requires commitment. Once someone wears the red hat or attends a rally, their identity is locked in. And ultimately, he is likable. He uses humor and sportsmanship to relate to everyone. At his rallies, he has social proof that everyone believes him because he has the biggest rallies. Finally, his influence suggests that reciprocity or promises of protection and revenge are all something that he is going to hand out. This isn't new. Situational power has been studied. Zimbardo's prison experiment shows that how environments shape our identity. MAGA rallies are immersive environments with flags and chants and music that transforms individuals into a collective group, amplifying loyalty. Jason Stanley explains how propaganda works. Propaganda manipulates the democratic discussions by appealing to emotions and distorting truth. Things like fake news is a perfect example, as it delegitimizes all outside information, leaving only MAGA approved sources. Think about that. Only one approved source of information. That doesn't seem reasonable. Hannah Arendt showed how propaganda creates self-contained realities where MAGA builds a world where only Trump's words are true and everything else is suspect. Jacques Ellul argued that propaganda is pervasive, shaping attitudes every day, and that MAGA memes, slogans, and media echo chambers reinforce loyalty, not just at rallies, but in our everyday lives. These similarities between cults and MAGA are scary because independent thinking and decision-making and identity get tied to allegiance, and no one wants to lose their identity. If I were ever trapped in a distorted worldview, I would hope you would have the compassion to say something. That's what I'm doing now. This is not an attack. It's an invitation to step away from rhetoric and identity politics and to see how manipulation accumulates power at your expense. I want to invite you to take a break. Step away from MAGA media. Step away from the fight against those who oppose it and check in with yourself. Ask, what did I believe before MAGA? What values mattered to me? What did I think about America before Trump interpreted events for me? And journaling can help. Write down your thoughts without slogans, without borrowed language, just your words. What part of you existed before MAGA? It still exists now. Following MAGA doesn't make you evil or bad. It makes you human. And being human means sometimes being manipulated, sometimes being used. Who hasn't? Who hasn't been manipulated or used? The real strength is in recognizing it, stepping back and reclaiming your own voice. My hope is that you find peace and happiness and freedom again, not through allegiance, but through self-awareness, independent thought. My dear friend, you are more than a movement. You are more than a slogan. You are you, and that is enough.